So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you from so many countries. We are connected from at least 23 countries all over the world. It's really wonderful to be here, and I know that we are from not only from different countries, but also from different cultures and backgrounds. My name is Antonia. I've been a professional gynecologist for over 20 years, working as a professor at the Catholic University of Rome. Welcome to this innovative event. We can say it's really innovative. We will listen and discuss some secrets of life. I want to say that, secrets of life, with Professor Salvatore Mancuso, who has spent a lot of his life exploring and discovering the mystery of the fetus, placenta, and of course, the mother. So I told you that we are from so many countries, just to mention some of this nationality. So there are people from Italy, Pakistan, India, Philippines, Brazil, Albania, Uganda, Poland, Cameroon, Ireland, Syria, Zimbabwe, Slovenian, Chinese, Moldavia, Jordan, Syria, Australia, Portugal, Burundi, Jordan, Ukraine, French, and Austria. But perhaps I forgot some countries. So welcome to everybody. An announcement. Just to inform everybody that this event is being recorded. And those not willing to be visible can remain anonymous with no camera, if you prefer. So, what is the schedule, you may ask, for today? Firstly, you will listen to a lecture from Professor Mancuso, sharing his research and findings. And this lecture will last for about 15-20 minutes. After that, there will be a questions and answer section where some of you, those that we can see on the screen now, will be able to speak directly to Professor Mancuso. And the others, they can write any questions they may want answered. This section will be chaired by my friend, Dr. Rawana Naber. She is a professional designer and philosopher. She is from Jordan, by the way. So, let's begin with the question. Who is Professor Mancuso? Just a few words. He was born in Palermo, Sicily. At 37 years old, he became professor in obstetrics and gynecology. He was the director of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the Catholic University of Rome until 2007. After that, he became president of the ethical committee of the Fondazione Policlinico Gemelli in Rome. He was a member of the World Health Organization. He published several books and more than 500 scientific papers in international journals. He was awarded several prizes in different countries, Armenia, Argentina, Hungary, and perhaps many others. So now I have the absolute pleasure to introduce Professor Mancuso to you all. Welcome, Professor. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Antonia. I'm very grateful for this kind invitation to participate to this meeting, to this symposium. And I will be pleased to tell you the story of the placenta, which is a very special organ that is formed at the same time when we are in a very initial phase of our life. The placenta, we ourselves, we build the placenta. And this building takes place inside the womb of our mother. From the very beginning, when we are at the very initial phase of our life, in a stage of one single cell, which is derived by the union of the two germ cells of our parents. And at this point, the chromosomes of our mother and the chromosomes of our father will mix, and they will join and will form an unit inside of the nucleus of this one single cell that we are ourselves. And once this genome is formed, then at this point it starts to work, and it has a lot of functions to be accomplished. And the first function is to start to divide himself into two cells, and then there will be 4 cells, and 8, and 16, and so on, until the body of the new human being will be formed. At the stage of 2 cells, one of these is going to be the embryo, and the other one is going to be the placenta. So we ourselves, we build up our placenta, which is the organ that will develop at the same time simultaneously with our formation. And the placenta will grow with us and will leave us at the moment of our complete formation and development when we are ready to be born. And the placenta at that point will be discarded, but not definitely discarded. And I will explain you why. Now, there is also a component of our mother in the placenta, but it's very reduced, is a minimal component. For the 90%, the placenta is formed with our tissue, and only for 10% is the tissue of our mother. And it is developing during the first 10 weeks of the gestation, and to reach the final shape, the final formation. And the placenta at this point looks like a kind of a flat, round, flat bread, which has 2 sides. One side is attached to the wall of the uterus of the mother, and the other side is surrounded by the fetal membranes, and in the middle of this side there is the cord blood that join the placenta to the fetus. And the fetus is inside the amniotic sac, amniotic fluid, exactly like a little fish, because in this phase of our life, we have a medium, an aqueous medium in which we stay and we move. The placenta since the very initial phase has numerous functions and give us all the necessary protection and send to us a continuous flux of nutrients and the oxygen that the mother breathes for herself and for the baby that is growing inside her. So we receive the oxygen for our metabolic functions from our mother. And many other functions are done by the placenta. But the first two very urgent functions are, the first one is the necessary stopping of the programmed menstrual fluid, because if the menstruation will come, then the little embryo cannot be accepted. And the second very important function is to adjust the immunitary system of the mother in order to accept the fetus that for 50% of its body is deriving from the paternal antigens. So is a foreign body for 50% of its body, of its component. And at this point, the fetus that has the well-functioning genome will produce a great amount of compounds, of biochemical compounds, that are hormones, proteins, enzymes, cytokines, and this represent all the elements of the primitive language that the fetus use to communicate with the mother. And the placenta stays in the middle of the two compartments, and the placenta receives the messages that the fetus produces, and they select all these messages and convey them to the maternal organism. So the mother is informed through the placenta of what the little embryo first and fetus after the first trimester needs. And the placenta is not a simple container that distribute these messages from the fetus to the mother, but select what really the fetus needs. And I was saying that the most important action is to change the immune system of the mother in order to accept the presence of the fetus that is, as I said, a foreign body. So this is a very special function that the placenta will perform. One of the necessary compound to be very precautiously produced is is a protein which is called chorionic gonadotrophin. This is a very important compound that goes to the placenta, and the placenta transmit this message to the ovary of the mother that will increase the production of progesterone. The progesterone is the true hormone of pregnancy. The word progesterone means that is favor to the gestation. Pro gestation. And this compound is a very, very peculiar compound because it is necessary for many, many functions. As I said before, the progesterone, the amount of progesterone, the increasing amount of progesterone will stop the menstrual fluid, so the embryo can be accepted inside the uterine wall when it's ready to be implanted, to the nidation. But at the meantime, the progesterone gives to the mother a series of adjustments for receiving in the best possible way the presence of the embryo and then the fetus. You can imagine the uterus of the mother, which is, let's say, not bigger than an apple, let's say, that must grow at the same time with the fetus until the fetus reaches the weight of about 3 kilograms, which is really a big weight. And the uterine wall must grow at the same time synchronously with the growing of the fetus. And the progesterone provides this, together with the estrogens. At the meantime, the progesterone has also a lot of effects on the maternal body, because the effect of the progesterone goes to the central nervous of the mother, and she will increase the time of sleeping, because she must concentrate to protect and to provide all the necessary needs for the perfect growing of the fetus. So what the mother does also, she eats, and all the nutrient will be fragmented in the bowel of the mother, and the fraction of the nutrients will travel with the blood, reach the placenta, and the placenta select what the fractions of what the mother eats to send them to the fetus in order to create the necessary requirements to build up all the organs and the apparatus, the bones and the lungs and the liver, and mostly important, the brain. The brain is the most precious organ that we have, of course. And to grow in the best possible conditions, it needs a lot of oxygen also, because of the metabolism of all the nervous cells that are going to be formed. And for this reason, providing the amount of oxygen, and this is really one of the most important things that the placenta does. I was saying the progesterone. The progesterone.
So you told me. You told me regarding the progesterone. You
Yes.
told me something about, is it unique for a human being or also for animals?
No. The progesterone is a hormone, let's say, is ubiquitarious, is present in many animals. For instance, in the bird, the progesterone gives the input to build up the nest. And the female bird, thanks to the progesterone, create the nest for the chicks. And just giving you this example, when the female bird is going to have the little kicks, she plugs the feeders from the abdomen, and this creates a new source of vessels of venous that increase the worm because of in order to amplify the heat for the brood, and to form at the end with this feeders, it creates a very comfortable pillow for the chicks when the eggs will be hatched.
Because it's
the
womb is completely clean, so they can give the kids a warm environment.
That's correct. Exactly this.
Okay.
And another hormone this is very interesting, which is produced by the placenta, is the so-called the lactogen, placental lactogen hormone. And this hormone will create a continuous stream of fats, of fatty acids from the maternal circulation to the placenta, and from the placenta to the fetus. And at the meantime, it prepared the breast of the mother when the baby will be born, to be of course to be fed by the mother, because the placenta has provided this function in order to feed the baby when he will be born. In addition to all these compounds that the placenta produces and selected, there is also another function of the placenta, which is an organ of storage. If the mother stays a long time without eating, then the placenta has a reserve of a deposit food that send slowly to the fetus in order to maintain a continuous production of material that the fetus needs. Another function of the placenta is to filtrate and to act as a barrier organ, because stop all what can be dangerous for the fetus. And let's say compounds which are present in the atmosphere, the pollution and poisons and hormones like the corticosteroids. When the mother, for instance, is engaged in a very active work, when the mother is stressed, chronically stressed, then the placenta avoid that all this great amount of corticosteroids, of cortisol, which is produced by the adrenal glands of the mother, will pass through the placenta to the fetus. And the placenta, that has this capacity of select and filtrate the compound that the fetus does not need, will transform the cortisol into cortisone, which is inactive, and the fetus will not receive the same stress of the mother.
What are the two names? Cortisol and cortisone.
Yes.
So with the L or with the N. So the placenta stops.
The cortisol is the most active compound that metabolizes the sugars that is essential to live. The cortisone is a chemically modified molecule which is inactive and does not create the conditions of stress for the fetus. Just let me know how much I have to
Don't
speak.
worry, still 5 minutes for sure. So
Okay.
far we learned the placenta to be a computer.
The placenta function like a computer because receive messages from the fetus. The fetus asks something to the mother. The placenta select what the fetus needs and modify this request and address to the mother what really the fetus needs. So the placenta works like a brain. It's a brain, it's a primitive brain. But it's not only this that the placenta does. Many of the functions of the placenta we still don't know, and there will be somebody, maybe some of you, if you go into the scientific future research, that will discover what else the placenta can do. But in addition to all this compound and all these functions that we have just very rapidly mentioned, the placenta send to the mother very small fragments of his own structure in order to amplify and make stronger the messages that the fetus sent to the mother. And among these fragments of tissue that travel inside the body of the mother through the blood flow, there is a continuous stream of stem cells. You know what stem cells are the very primitive cells that can become all the organs and apparatus of the growing baby. So the placenta sends these stem cells to the mother, and since the mother has accommodated, has adjusted her immune system, can receive these cells of the fetus, and the cells will establish themselves, will localize themselves into the lungs, into the liver, into the bone marrow of the mother, and there remain forever after the baby was born. So the mother has the advantage to maintain a good amount of these cells. This is called cellular traffic, and this traffic creates a kind of a reserve of life for the mother, because when some organ is affected by a disease and is in part destroyed, then this stem cell, very young stem cell, coming from the fetus, will attach into the organ which is to be repaired, and repair the organ. And this is a question of a supplement of health that the mother receives from the son or the daughter that are growing inside her. So this is very astonishing when this function. So the placenta, once the baby reach the complete development, will be delivered at the same time that the fetus is delivered. And the newborn finally will be received into the arms of the mother, and she finally meet his son or the daughter, and no more through the ultrasound image with the echography, but physically in her hands. And this is the wonderful thing that it happens after the baby is born. It is the same baby that when it reaches the complete development and maturation, that send to the placenta another signal, and this signal will tell the mother that is the moment to activate the muscle of the uterus, and he wants to be born. And that's will start the uterine contractions, and the baby will come to the
Outside,
light,
yes.
to the light. And so one thing that I wanted to stress is that the placenta is at the end, after this fantastic work that the placenta does during the pregnancy, is in most of the cases discarded. But now there is an increasing interest toward this organ, and there is more and more the attention to preserve and to keep part of the placenta. For instance, in the blood of the cord, of the umbilical cord, there are a great number of stem cells, and the stem cells can be collected and to send to the bank of the blood, and can be utilized for the bone marrow transplantation for children that have disease of the blood, or even for adult people. And this is a sort of solidarity that the placenta may have for the future. But the most astonishing thing is that a part of the placental tissue is donated to the mother, and this is a supplementum of health that the mother receives from the placenta and for his baby during his formation. And this is a kind of a sign of gratitude to the person that gave him or her the life. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Professor Mancuso. There is a general applause, even if it's only virtual. So we learned many things. If we wanted to summarize, I repeated, I learned that it's a sort of computer. It's our first production, not production. It's the first activity we can do. So sometimes I know that teenagers all around the world, in this difficult time, they sometimes feel very sad, isolated, not to be able to do many things, a little bit frustrated. No, not at all. Since the beginning, we are able to do so many things.
Right.
At least one, we did it. We built our placenta, and we gave our mother an immense gift, that is our stem cells remaining forever in her body. That's amazing.
Oh, yes, this is really something really astonishing,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this very young material, this young part of the body of the son or of the daughter will remain inside the maternal organism forever. And the mother, without knowing, she received this gift from the baby that was was incubated
Yeah.
during the 40 weeks of pregnancy.
And now it's your time. Yes,
Dialogue
Rawan.
moment with
Now-
all of you. I don't know about you, but I think that it was really exciting and fascinating, to listen to this story and to think that all of this was happening while we were in our mother's womb. Like, we didn't even know about it. We were just sitting there, maybe swimming in that liquid.
Yes.
But we didn't know that we were working, actually. We were active, and we have left our sign in our mother's body, and that's really amazing. I was thinking about my mom, who lives in the other part of the world, but she has a part of me in her, so it's really amazing. So now I will be checking for everyone who is connected. I will be checking the messages in the chat. So if you have any comments, questions, I've seen that some comments already arrived saying how amazing it is, how wonderful it is to think of the placenta as a little brain. They're thanking you, Professor Mancuso. And someone is saying that it's a miracle of nature. It's a miracle of nature to think about it. So if you have any questions, I will be checking the chat. But for those who are connected, our 6 participants who we can see on the screen, you can simply freely open your mics and comment or ask questions. I don't know if there's something that struck you, that you have never thought about.
May I?
Yeah, definitely.
First of all, I'm audible to everyone.
Who is talking?
Myself, Parish from Shanti Ashram ICPH.
Oh,
I'm doing
welcome.
So I just here to reflect something which I have learned from this session. That you said the primitive brain, placenta is a wall of protection and also a first protective shield. Still now, before I listened this session, it's like I don't know what the placenta and it's just a protection shield and it's a communication between our mother and us. Seriously, I don't know about all this, but by the grace of God and support of Ashram and by listening you, I just gathered some information. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. He was just sharing what he learned from this session, so he's grateful for what
I'm
he
glad
learned.
that you enjoyed the story.
You can go and check out more information now if you're interested.
Of course, there are so many things to say about the placenta, and we just summarize very rapidly just a few important points, but we could go deeply. This depends on your questions, if you want.
May I?
Definitely.
Good morning. My name is Giorgia, and I'm from Italy. I would like to ask something to the doctor. And I would like to know how much important are the staminal cells of the placental blood.
How important are
The stem cells?
in the placenta, for the placenta?
In the placental blood, yes.
For the blood in the placenta, how important are the staminal cells?
Staminal cell.
Oh, yes. And this, you see, not a long time ago, but very recently, there are all around the world many blood banks that collect the cord blood stem cells, and they will be taken from this blood, isolated, and collected. And these are a very precious material because they can be used to transplant to the people that need to have a special treatment to cure the tumor of the blood, for instance, in young and also in adult people. And there are many of these sick people that will use the stem cells collected in the delivery rooms all over the world. And this is a kind of a solidarity, human solidarity for donation to people that needs this kind of treatment.
Perhaps you wanted also to know the role of stem cells for the fetus himself. During pregnancy, why are there stem cells?
Well, the stem cells are like the bricks to build up different organs and apparatus. You know, the stem cells have two special characteristics. The one is that they reproduce themselves, maintaining the staminality. So this means the potentiality to become any organ or tissue of the body. If they are put together with special compounds like cytokines, they will be stimulated to become bone or brain or liver. And there are many examples that demonstrate that during pregnancy and even after that the baby has born, for instance, there is the infarct of the heart that has been repaired with in women that have delivered many years before, that have been repaired the cardiac muscle by the stem cell of the baby that was there many years before and still active.
Professor, there's a question from Australia, directly from Australia, and then we will give the word to Carlo. Carlo, I've seen your message. We will give you the word in a second. So they're saying, I'm so happy to hear this and wonder how can we share this knowledge with mothers looking for abortion?
Well, this is, you know, also during the abortion, it can be or either spontaneous or voluntary. There are very many stem cells that enter into the maternal circulation, and they will domiciliate inside the body of the mother. So not only the baby that have finished his complete development up to to be born, but also the baby that did not succeed in having the program of life, because his life, his intrauterine prenatal life has been interrupted. But also in this case, there is a remnant of his part of himself that remain inside of the mother, and the mother will benefit for her health in the years that will come, when this stem cell will repair or regenerate organs that are deteriorated.
So when it comes to abortion, it's a delicate topic, but maybe knowing these information would help decide, would help in the process of decision when it comes to decisions like that.
Oh, yes.
That have to do with life. So I see hands being raised. So we have lots of questions here, but I want to give the word to Carlo, who asked if he could make a question. We would hear him, but he can't turn on the video. So Carlo. Riccardo. No, it's Carlo. Scalia. Riccardo, okay.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Mancuso, for your brilliant and very interesting intervention. And I would like to ask you if is there a link between the coronavirus and the placenta, and if the coronavirus can go through it?
If
Thank
there is a link between the virus, the coronavirus, and the placenta, if they have something to do with it, if it can heal, it can
Well,
heal.
yes. You know, the virus is a microorganism which is very, very little, and there are many viruses that are dangerous for the placenta, because the placenta can neutralize bacteria or protozoa, but not the viruses. And there is, I think, there is some examples of baby that have the coronavirus, and but they are asymptomatic. They have no the manifestation of the disease. So there is no evidence of the transmission of the virus, of the effect of the disease induced by the coronavirus during the pregnancy into the developing fetus.
That's it's interesting to research that, because we're still in the beginning of the pandemic. So I think many researches are being done. Ariana, would you like to make your question now?
Yes, I firstly wanted to thank Professor Mancuso for this beautiful lecture, and also to say hello to the people connected, because it's very exciting. And I wonder whether it is clear or not to the scientific community if these stem cells that are conveyed from the fetus to the mother's body have some effects after birth on the relationship between the mother and the newborn baby.
If the stem cells have any connection with the relationship between mother and the baby. Actually,
this is a very interesting question. I thank you for that question. You know, the stem cells have so many receptors, and it is really very, very astonishing, the fact that there is a maintenance of an interrelation with the mother even many years after the baby has been delivered. Mm-hmm. So there is not a scientific explanation, but the mother still receives messages from the stem cells of the son or of the daughter that were there inside the womb of the woman many years before. And there is this kind of connection, but this is mysterious, and we still do not have the explanation. But the linkage between son or daughter and mother is not definitely stopped at the moment of the birth, but it go on and follows after time and time, after the baby's growth and become a child or a man or a woman. Many years later.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Akash, before giving you the word, I've just read a message, a note in chat that seems very interesting, talking about the tradition, the Aboriginal tradition in Australia, because they say that the placenta in this tradition is not discarded, but placed in a special place in nature. And therefore, it creates a bond with creation, with the nature, not only in the relationship between mother and child.
You know, 5,000 years ago, the Egyptian pharaoh used to mummify the placenta, and it was taken in the official ceremony. There was all the flags telling the power of the pharaoh, and the placenta, mummified placenta, was taken in the first line as the first input to the pharaoh to give the pharaoh the power, because the placenta has built up the king of Egypt. And this is very remarkable.
That's amazing.
All over the world, the placenta was discarded, incinerated, but there are many ethnic
Traditions.
group and traditions that preserve the placenta. And I think in the future, there will be an increasing interest to maintain part of the placenta for the use that the ongoing research is now going into deeply. Yes.
That could be a topic for one of your essays at school. I think it's very interesting to go and search for the different traditions and how did they see the placenta. Akash, what do you say? Do you have something to ask?
Yes, I want something to say. Thank you, Professor, for this wonderful lecture. As I am a mathematics student, it's been interesting to hear some sciences also. So I think it's been very grateful to hear you. And I have a question to ask.
Go ahead, yeah.
Please.
And I have a question. The question was, you have said that the connection between the baby and the mother was connected by the placenta. The requirement of the baby is passes through the placenta to the mother. Is there any vice versa possible? I think, the requirement or the need of the mother will be known to the child or baby. Is that possible?
The
through
need,
placenta?
Akash, just a second, the need of the mother?
Yes, some requests from the mother. Is asking, is there a vice versa process also? Some requests from the mother
towards
and the
the
baby
child.
can respond.
Yes.
In the computer, in this computer, how does it work?
This is a computer that works in the two different ways. And, you know, just to make an example, this is a very intelligent question. You know, during pregnancy, there is a huge production of hormones, some of this by the placenta. Some of these hormones, like estrogens, may go to target organs and may create some danger. Now, the fetus produces the molecules very close as a structure to the hormones that might create danger to the mother. And these hormones attach the receptors and avoid that the most dangerous hormone, not dangerous, but the huge amount of these hormones may create some danger for the future of the mother. For instance, the estrogens in a predisposed people, in predisposed women, may into the target organ, like the breast, in the future they may induce the formation of some tumors. And there is a kind of a protection done by the fetus through the placenta to create a kind of a protection to the organs that can be damaged by the excess of the hormones produced during pregnancy. And this is really very astonishing also.
So I think we have a problem here, Professor Mancuso. time is running up and we have lots of questions. I think that we need to do something. Either another session, we have to ask Professor Testa to organize another session, or maybe we can leave your email.
I will be
If
pleased,
someone
whenever
is
you want.
perfect. Maybe we can leave Professor Mancuso's email, and whoever has any questions, comments, you can contact him directly. He would be more than happy.
So you can collect all the questions,
Definitely.
and I will try to
Okay.
To answer.
maybe writing something.
Exactly. So we will be sending you all, because we have your emails, we will be sending you an email where to send the questions. I'm really sorry for those with their hands up, but we will find a way.
Yes, thank you, Rawan. It's time now to wrap up. And first, I wanted to express my gratitude to Professor Mancuso. Personally, I say that it's really fascinating to discover this, the beauty of human being.
Oh, really?
We are unique, we are so precious, and so we have to trust ourselves and the others. And I want to thank you for your contribution, for your questions. Just to let you know that part of this recorded lecture will open the marathon, which will be held on May 15th. What is a marathon? You can see the advertisement leaflet, but I just want to tell you the reason we organized this marathon. 2 years ago, I went to Coimbatore in India, where Akash and I don't remember the other name of the other boy, where they live. I was hosted by Dr. Vinu Aram. She's a pediatrician, and she's the president of the Shanti Ashram. Shanti means peace. Ashram is the name of the Gandhian community where they live. And I was so impressed by the projects they run. They're able to reach more than 50,000 children and to help their families. So it happened that last December, Dr. Vinu Aram sent me an email, and I understood, I made a phone call with her, and I understood that they need our help. Because she said, you know, Antonia, with these months of lockdown, we used all our resources. And so I have to understand how to cover the cost before the life will start again normally. And so I decided to find a way to gain money to help the Shanti Ashram and their projects. So that's why I thought, I can engage my colleagues, and I called the most famous gynecologists in the world to gather together, not to give a concert because we are not singers, but to gather together and to do a scientific program. And that's the marathon. About 6-8 hours with scientific lectures. And with this scientific program, I'm going to ask companies to support the event in order to send money to the Shanti Ashram. Do you like this idea? So a part of this recorded lecture will open this event. Now, I don't know if Dr. Vinu Aram is with us. Vinu, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's fantastic, Vinu. I can't see. Oh, I can see you now. Oh, thank you for joining us. So, Vinu, I wanted to ask you if you're happy to give us some words, and you can conclude the event.
Well, first of all, I think, Professor Mancuso, thank you so much for bringing to the next generation from so many countries the value of science, value of science in the service of society. When Akash asked the question and Ricardo asked the question, I saw the scientific temperament of inquiry, of questioning. But when Arish asked the question, I also saw how children want to be equal partners to dialogue in science and in societal challenge. So thank you. Grazie mille, Professor Mancuso, for being here.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
And to my sister, my colleague, Dr. Antonia Testa, I think this is a time where I think people like us who are trained as physicians have to speak about health in a broader setting. The factors that go beyond medicine and hospital, the care, the support, the nutrition. So I have never thought about it, Antonia, but you have given such a wonderful example of an intellectual marathon for a spiritual cause, care for one another. So the example is precious, Antonia, and we at Shanti Ashram, about 10 of us have logged in. We are very grateful for this support. If the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us one thing, that is interconnectedness. The virus can separate us by distance, but the virus has reminded us that we have to support one another. We have to care for one another even more. So I am very grateful for this example of an intellectual marathon. I hope more of us will use our minds for such good things. And we are with you. We are with you. As Mahatma Gandhi said, faith does not admit of telling alone. We have to live it in the service of others. And thank you for this opportunity of being together,
Thank
of
you.
serving one another, and remembering the value of science.
It was a
Grazie.
great
Thank you so
pleasure
much.
to have you.
Thank you
meeting with you.
Thank you so much, Vinu. And to conclude this event, very unique, I wanted to thank Professor Mancuso again for sharing what he learned in so many years of activity, science, and your study. I wanted to thank the University office, Francesca Fusco, Francesco Gemelli, and all our technicians behind the camera with Mattia Ciccarelli and the company for supporting us. I want to thank Rawan Naber for chairing the session, and I wanted to thank one by one each of you. I can't mention your name specifically, but thank you, because this solidarity is so important. It's so important to make all of us so happy to be able to do something important in our life. So take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.